Answering open-ended questions where there's no right or wrong answer, but the trick is that the AI must generate a realistic response. First question is about entity framework being used with a repository pattern, an opinionated question where many developers have a variety of opinions. Now the question, is entity framework a good enough abstraction or does it need to be used with a repository pattern? This is a very tricky question. I'm expecting AI to either hallucinate or try its best to give a long response, which does not really answer the question. Response from Qwen 2.5 Max. This response is a little long. It does get the benefits of using repository pattern, and it mentions domain-driven design. In my opinion, domain-driven design hints that repository pattern is solving a high-level architectural problem. But the reasons for why you might just want to use entity framework alone are not convincing for my style of development. Once you have more than 3 or 5 tables in what you think is a small database, you are bound to need some class where all the commands and queries are placed, and not have ad hoc code for data access at random places. It might not strictly be a repository pattern, but you are bound to need some wrapper or class that makes their data access more logical to follow. Response from DeepSeek, more or less the same, but does not mention domain-driven design. Domain-driven design in itself is not forced, but some kind of high-level architectural organization is going to be needed, even in small applications. So once again, this was a tricky question and in the category of starting to push the meaning of AI. Models should be able to have the concept of entity framework as a technology and a concrete tool, while the repository pattern is on a high level of architecture and best practice. These two are not exactly interchangeable and are not on the same level of abstraction. So DeepSeek gets a 7 out of 10 and Qwen gets 7.5 only because it mentioned domain-driven design.